Hello and welcome back to another revenge channel. I'm JMJ Booksquare and today we are doing a nonfiction review. But before we get started and we talk about this book, which I'm really excited to talk to you about, we are actually going to jump to a Jacob in the past who is going to tell you about the books that I have published. Hi, how you guys doing? How's that Jacob? Is he doing good? I hope so. But being said, let's talk about Gunshot Residue. Starts out this trilogy. We have P49, which is the second book in this trilogy. And we also have Mr. St. James, which is the final book in this trilogy. All three books are available on Kindle Unlimited. All three books are wide, so you can buy them anywhere if you don't believe in Amazon. However, the ebook is exclusive to Amazon. I will read you the loglines for all three. However, we will go into a little bit more detail what the first one's about because you have to read this one to be able to read these ones. You know what I mean? But let's first go through the loglines. Loglines are simply just like the top part right here. I'm not going to read you any of this. Just this. So the first one is your husband's secrets enough to shatter your world, which I feel like is a pretty good theme for the book. The second one, which is this one, is what are you really capable of? And then the third one, which is this one, is how far are the bounds of love? Essentially, this follows an already married couple, Alex and DeMarcus. They are currently going through some marital problems at the beginning of this book. They've been together for 5 years, and Alex strongly believes that his husband is cheating on him. He just has this feeling. There's other people in his life that are kind of instigating him towards this realization as well, and so he takes it upon himself to figure out if his husband's actually cheating on him or not. And he actually learns that there's a bigger conspiracy mystery going on that overspans 3 different books that has to do with his husband. Once again, they are already married. These are spicy romantic suspense novellas. They're very short and they're very fast paced, so you can read them very quickly. That's all I got for you. I love them, but I wrote them, so I'm biased. That being said, jump back to a Jacob in whatever video you're watching. Hello, I am tired. Yeah, that's what my life is right now. But that being said, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a non-spoiler review for this book. Is Anti-Racist, 20 Lessons on How to Wake Up and Take Action and Do the Work by Tiffany Joel, illustrated by Arilla Duran. First things first, I would recommend this as a physical read, not an audiobook. I think the audiobook was fine for the little bit that I did read of it. However, there's so much interaction that is inside the pages. I think it's more fun to read. Essentially, what this book is, it's teaching you how to become an activist in a situation of, particularly when it comes to racism, but it's not just talking about racism. It's talking about like a lot of different things, mostly about racism, and talking about how you as a person can evolve and can see yourself and figure out which part of the communities you are in, and figure out where you're marginalized, where you're not marginalized. Has a bunch of lots of definitions and stuff. It's also partially a memoir in certain aspects because Tiffany Joel does have different aspects of the story or of her life in here as well to tell you about particular moments and why she wishes she would have done something different or why she, that experience was different. I also do love that there are these things in here called activities, and these activities are about, or the whole point of them is to confront you with what's going on and to have more interaction, so you are part of the discussion, basically setting you up to be able to go out and do it is what it is. And they start off really small with just like making like the first activity. Hold on, maybe I can see it and we can talk about it. Pull out a notebook. Make sure it's a notebook you'll want to keep coming back to, one that you can carry around with you. The next 5 minutes, write down everything you can think that makes you who you are. And essentially, for her, she also details a list in case you're curious what counts as who you are. So some of her things are like, I am a female, cis female, black, biracial, light-skinned, a twin, a daughter. That type of stuff. There's a bunch of other stuff on there, but yeah. Then the next one is create your identity map. Grab a piece of plain paper and continue your notebook. Write your name in the center, and from there place your identities all around you. Feel free to illustrate the map. There is no actual look at what that looks like, but I think you have an understanding. It goes through all these different definitions and stuff. It makes it very clear what you're doing and the understanding, but there's 20 activities, maybe 15 activities, and I think they all work really, really well. I think this book is perfect for someone who is teaching younger children how to be better. I would say it's also a book like this, it popped out to me because this book is anti-racist, right? It has a catchy title to it, but also in my brain I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be directed towards white people. Because, we're essentially in a lot of places when it comes to marginalized groups, especially people of color. When you are white, you have a much stronger stance in the situation. You have a lot more privilege than they do, and you have a lot more opportunity to step out and do something. You see a black person being attacked in the street by a cop, you can get up there, and you can get in their face, and you can film it, you can do all these things without having the worry of it being retaliated back against you because of the color of your skin, because I am white. That is one of those privileges that is there. However, if you are a white woman, that could lead to some complications. But because, for instance, I'm a white man, that does carry a lot of favorable privileges around the world. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of opportunities that I get that other people don't get. Straight down to the workforce, straight down to opportunities that some people are going to want to work with me over creators, especially depending on where we're at in society. And so this book is directly talking about that, and it's talking about how you become an activist, how you can help and you can show and see how. And there's like a lot of different stories about like high school and middle school in here, which I think is why it's really great for a younger audience, because it puts you in the shoes as that character. I like bullies and stuff along those lines. I just think it's really well done. I think it's really well painted. I think it's a great book to read with your children. However, I also have to say that there is certain things in here that I didn't know that I took away. I was like, oh, that's something interesting that I gleaned from this book. Oh, that's something interesting. Oh, that's a little tidbit of a fact I didn't know. And so I do think it's also very helpful for someone who is older, who is trying to understand where they fit in and they want to try better to not use microaggressions, or to, for instance, like microaggressions in general. Those are things that in ways, until they're pointed out to you, you might not even realize, oh my god, that's a microaggression. And then there's other situations where you're like, that's obviously a microaggression. And without knowing what the definition of that is, which this book does provide, it can be confusing to hear, and you might be like confused why someone is saying this is something you're doing. And so educating yourself could be a perfect way to do so. In my opinion, I think it was really well done. It was really well done. I also really love all the imagery and stuff in here. I think it's beautifully illustrated. I think it's beautifully, I don't know, I just think it was beautifully well done. Okay, so yeah, this is the situation I was just talking about, which directly mentioned in here. So let me go through it. First, grab your notebook. Let's start writing. This is a different activity. You observe what's happening and examine the situation. The folks being held by the police look frightened. They don't want to be there. You don't want these two young black men to become new hashtags and statistics, so there are a bunch of things you can do. Take a few minutes and make a list of every possible outcome. So essentially what you're going to do is you can be like, ask the person who's driving the car to stop. We can get out and walk over there to the situation and we can stand witness. They also talk about how it is your right to record. A lot of people think that's in question, but it directly is your right to record. There's nothing they can do about that. Also, I don't want to read everything to you because I want you to be able to read the book to understand some of these things as well. But like if you are, this is a great one. Sitting near the police and the young men, I can ask the two black men if there's anything I can do, if there's anyone I can call for them, anything along those lines. If you are a child in a situation, you can ask an adult to do this. I also do have to agree with this, especially because of everything going on in the US right now with ICE. I do think that standing in a crowd is stronger. So if you are in a situation where it seems dangerous, try to bring as many people to it as possible. Try to point it out as much as possible. Make people watch. Make people see the brutality that is happening in this world. Make them stand and watch. There is something about a group that's way more intimidating than just one person, and they're more than likely to lash out at you because you're recording, but that's exactly what you gotta do. You gotta make sure your phone is backed up and it can save to something else in case for whatever reason the recording gets turned off. That way it's not just on your phone, because they can take your phone, they can destroy your phone. These are things that we're seeing in videos all the time. These are things that they don't think is going to get out because they're just showing the device that's recorded on. You got to make sure it's backed up if you're doing things under those lines, because you have to have copies, because the whole point of this is to spread awareness. You are helping by being an eye for them. You are an eye for them, and in that particular, in any situation that you can do it in. I do think the more the people, the better. There's a reason why we go out and we protest and we do things when it comes to things. And I think this is a great thing that you're seeing in a lot of kids today. A lot of parents are teaching their kids right to understand the morality of what's going on in the world, at least here in the United States. It is disgusting what is happening. And I don't mean to take away from like what the book is, but also the book is saying protest. The book is saying stand up for what you believe is right. And any type of racism is wrong. The stuff going on with ICE is disgusting, and I have never been more appalled in my life. The videos I see, I cry like 3 times a day, because I just wish there was more that we as a society can do. I wish there's more that we can, and it's being shown that the people that come together, that fight back, it is working. The restaurants that are not serving, the communities that are not welcoming, these are all things that are playing really big factors into changing the way people see it, the way society sees it. They're losing funding. There's a lot of good things that are coming, but it's a very slow thing. But they're still making detention centers. They're still running up kids from schools. They're still tearing apart families. They're still doing all this awful shit. There's videos and videos and there's, stories. And if they're not doing those things, they're taking people out into the middle of the woods and stripping them naked and killing them. I can't make this up. There's so much proof. And the fact that you have people who are like, oh, this is what people deserve. This is whatever. No, that is not what people fucking deserve. They're fucking human beings. Take 2 minutes out of your life and be fucking considerate of your neighbor and who is sitting next to you. You don't know the life that they lived. They're here for a reason. I just don't understand that. This America in itself is never been a free nation, if that makes sense. We say that we are. We say we are the freest nation of all. That if you come to our soil, we will give you safety. We'll give you guidance. However, that's never been the case. We have always made it hard for immigrants to get legal citizenship in America. We've always made the test harder. These are things that in America that we actively do that has been reported from time and time again. And that is just on immigrants. That's not even talking about people of color. That's not even talking about, everything else that we have done. We are horrible, horrible people. And the fact that people are like, we're not that. Like, fuck off. We are horrible, horrible people. We came to this place and we stole the land, indigenous people. That is what we did. We came in, we collected it, and we spread and spread until we took everything and we left them nothing. Literally fucking nothing. My point being here, though, back to the book, is that I think it's very important. I think it's extremely important to the conversation being happening today. And I think everybody should read it. Yeah. And if you have kids, if you want to read it first, I totally understand that. In my opinion, there might be some things in here that you might, depending on the age, might not want to expose them to. However, there's a lot of amazing things in here. I think from a young age is the more impressionable the mind is, the better to teach them these things. It's better to let them know that there is a society that's not white people. And which sounds ridiculous, but there's a lot of states in America, and rural America in particular, where it's a bunch of just white kids living in a building. You know what I mean? Coming from a town that had very little diversity. I came from a town that was extremely very white. I left and I went to college and I was like, that's just not what the world's like. It's never too young to teach kids about racism. I know it's extremely scary, but imagine being the person on the other side. You have the ability to help, and by teaching your kids how to help, it's helping in a lot of different ways. However, if you're on the other side, they're being taught how to survive. You are helping them survive. That is what you're doing. And this is a great book to teach you how. I recommend the book is Anti-Racist. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That seems weird. I'm gonna link some things down below. I always have some type of information down below. I'm going to several different causes that are going on around the world today, but I will put a few different places in case you want to donate towards organizations that are helping with ICE in America. I also link a few different things that I can find where it's talking about more stories, and yeah, I'm just trying to spread the word. We are living in a society today where they're trying to stop the word being spread. For instance, Minnesota was such a huge part of conversation and it's died away because that's what the algorithm wants. It's not the fact that it's stopped happening, it's just not wanting to be shown. I'm not standing here for that. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.